Greetings, family. Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk Worldview with your sister Keisha, your brother Tad, and your brother Ashe SJ will be joining us shortly. So bear with us. We just got through the storm here, so a lot of people are held up in traffic. A lot of people are trying to make their way around the city, so our brothers are no different. So we'll wait for them to come in. But tonight, we have a couple of guests to come in and give us a bit of an education tonight. We have Brother Imhotep calling in from the We Charge Genocide movement to let us know what that's all about. What are their plans for our community? What do they have going forward, and how you can become more involved? And also around the 8:30 mark, we have our sister Ezili Danto coming in to give us a briefing on what is happening in Ayiti right now. A lot of chaos still happening. A lot of foreign hands still have a grip around the economy of Haiti, because I don't know if you all know that these NGOs are making a killing, supposedly doing humanitarian work in these areas, and we know that not to be true. But that is I think it's the 7th or 8th largest economy in the world. So we're going to get into that. There is a new interim government in place in Ayiti, so we got to get all the details from Sister Ezili Danto, because I get briefings all the time. I'm thankful to be a part of the Free Haiti newsletter, and I get information from the sister really on a daily basis, and those in the network on a daily basis. Sometimes I have to use the translation app so I could get it in English. But I thought it best that someone outside of Thorough Black Talk give you a unique perspective on what is happening in Ayiti right now, because it's critical. I know that Ayiti sits in between, or at least scientists say, sit in between two earthquake vaults. So this is a constant with that region, as going back as far as, I don't know, when they started recording earthquakes. So we're going to deal with all of that, and also investigation as far as the murder of former President Jovenel Moïse. So she's going to come in and give us all of that tea when she gets in. But I'm going to give a quick shout out to everybody who's tuned in already. Just buckled up. I thank you all for tuning in. Shout out to Edie. What's up with you, brother, on the West Coast? Hope everything is good with you. Sister Farnessa Abibi Fahodie. I don't know what's going on with crypto right now. They playing games, sis. They playing games. But anyway, I don't want to put our business out there like that. And shout out Sister Marie. Hope everything going well with you over there. And be more. Stay strong. I know they had the Race First rally last week or the week before down there. So hopefully you got a chance to check it out. If not, reach out to Brother Imhotep and see how you can get down with them next time. Shout out to Sister Joyce, Brother Monty in the building. How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? Glad to see you on the check-in. Hope everything is well with you all. Miss Electra, what's good with you? Aminatu, I seen you doing your thing, sis. Keep pushing strong. We all go through things in life, but we got to keep pushing forward because that's the cry of the ancestors. We can't fold. But I'm proud of you in your progression and keep doing what you're doing, sis. Shout out to Shotty in the building. I see you at the end of the month for our annual Fight Leukemia Walk in honor of Shantice's sister, Nikish Jackson Grant. So for those of you who want to know more about that, hit me up on the check-in and I'll let you know some details. All right. Yes, sis. Yes, definitely. For real. Adenike, it was a pleasure talking to you this afternoon. Me and her, we could chop it up for hours sometimes. It's very few people who I chop it up with more than an hour. I'm telling you, I'm not a phone person. So if you get that time with me, I like you. It's going to get better, sis. It's going to get better. I know what you're going through on your side of town. So I know it's going to get better. Shout out to Sister Pat. It was a pleasure to see you last weekend. For those of you who came out to Nicholas, Brooklyn last weekend to see Brother Tad, Brother Ashe, and myself. Always a pleasure to see familiar faces and just vibe with one another the way that we do. Dr. Yo, I got to get you on because we got to deal with some cultural stuff. So I got to get you on. I'm going to hit you in the DM. I got to get you on for sure. Yes. So I see we have our brother Imhotep already on the check-in and he's on time. See, I like that. Well, I can rock with him. He came out with Dr. Filet last weekend to show us love. Shout out to Dr. Filet. Came out to Nicholas, Brooklyn, all the way from Philadelphia. They came in to check us out, so I'm always appreciative of them. Sister Marie say, yeah, the gathering was amazing. That's a good thing. Shout out to Brother Imhotep. Hopefully we could get Brooklyn in next year. So Brother Tad, Ashe, and myself, we would try to discuss some of those things. Shout out to Sister Tam. I see you doing your thing. Where my car at, Sister Tam? I ain't get a call. I'm just saying. Let me not put your business out there. Yes, indeed, Doc. We're going to do that for sure. So I'm going to hit you on the DM because I don't know if you all, well, I'm going to hold that for the end. Because something cultural is taking place here and is deeply disturbing to me. But since we got our brother Imhotep on the check-in, we're going to bring him right on in. How you doing, brother? What's good with you? Good to see you again.
Peace. Good to be seen. Yes, indeed. Much appreciated. Much love. Came out to the event last week.
Thank you.
Indeed. As we should, showing love, showing support, the way we should, the way we used to, and the way we need to again.
Yeah. I just saw your message. So if you need to do that, you can go ahead, bro.
Oh, I got it already. I grabbed it.
Okay, that's what's up. I know I keep my water right here too.
Thanks.
For those of us who run our mouths all day long, you gotta have the water in there,
Gotta stay hydrated.
Yes. So, for those people who don't know what We Charge Genocide is, tell us, brother, what is We Charge Genocide?
Okay. Well, in a nutshell, what we're doing is continuing in the legacy. So the We Charge Genocide was a charge that was put forth in the early 1950s by Mother Collie House, Paul Robinson, William Patterson, Queen Mother Moore, Brother Malcolm X, and a few other key figures, William Patterson. And so what happened was the freedom fighters at that time took it upon themselves to gather information and data what was going on in that era with lynchings, beatings, burnings, rapes, so on and so forth, because they weren't being documented by the powers that be and the authorities. And they took that information and got hundreds upon hundreds of signatures and took that to the UN to provide a base of a case for us in order to allow us to take things to the next level. And Malcolm X himself has said we need to build and move forward from the position of civil rights and take things to the level of human rights and put things on the world court, on the world stage, as opposed to solely being dependent on the United States government to be just. So with that, we have continued in that legacy and building upon that platform, and now bringing it forward with the Recharge Genocide 21 within the century and the era that we're in, pushing the legacy forward and moving things to the next level. So within that, we're citing the grievances that we have faced as a people, specifically, because there is no other race or ethnicity of people who can make these specific claims and who have had these atrocities waged against them for centuries and continuing until this very day. So we're talking about from the timeline of the inception of the institutionalized slavery, the transatlantic slave trade, moving up and through into the actual legislation of discrimination and degradation, moving up and through the post-Civil War era, and moving up and through the Jim Crow era. And there was legislation and laws, actual laws that the United States government put in place, that undermine the Black communities. During this time period, when the so-called, slaves, I like to refer to them as prisoners of war. I don't particularly fancy the term slave. I like to put things in proper context. So this was a war. We were prisoners, i.e. prisoners of war. But in the context of history and the way things are framed, we have to use certain terminologies. But with that, those individuals, after they were freed, quote unquote, emancipated, the slave owners, quote unquote, actually received reparations for loss of wages. And so what we're saying is that needs to be rectified and corrected, and that's moving up and through, going forward into the civil rights era, the Jim Crow laws, the segregation, and we're citing incidents such as gentrification. At that time, it was called redlining as we move up and through the timeline, right? So there's a systematic timeline that has happened for the past 400 years, one instance after another, that leads to our current claim of we charge genocide in this current context. So that includes, institutionalized systematic racism, terrorism, and oppression by the police. This includes governmental and police terrorism. This includes the gentrification that's going on currently, mass incarceration, a prison industrialization complex. This deals with medical apartheid, and improper medical care, poor education, inadequate housing, homelessness, and so these areas specifically, they affect others, but they specifically affect, quote unquote, Black folks, African Americans, indigenous folks, however you want to claim and name. And that's another thing that we're going to be discussing moving forward. We're going to have a pre-plebiscite so we can determine who we are and what we are, that we are defining and not being defined by others. That's Kujichagulia, self-determination. So we understand some of these basic principles. We got to start practicing them. So in a nutshell, the We Charge Genocide is just that, taking on the responsibilities, of our ancestors and moving things forward and putting things in the context of what has happened in the past, what has happened presently, and moving forward, how we need to correct some of these measures.
That's what's up. And when are you guys actually going to go to the United Nations? Because we here in Brooklyn, right here on the Brooklyn Bridge. So we need to know when you're going to be here, and if those who are viewing or listening can join in.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. You can hit the phone number 267 636 3802. That number again is 267 636 3802. You can also email nationalmwm@aol.com. That again is nationalmwm@aol.com. And you can also hit me on the social media. I am Brother Lumumba Uncaged. Powerman 2282 is that profile under Facebook and Instagram. So I do regularly post, events, so on and so forth, on that page. So it's a specific profile in order to promote the liberation of our people. And so you can check any of those platforms out, one or all of them, to get continuous information. If you want to sign up, you definitely want to hit the phone numbers and the email. I can also, once you hit me, I can funnel you through the proper channels. So however you get your media, however you disseminate your information, we have a wing or a branch there, and we can funnel you in the proper direction. So that is coming up September the 4th. That is this Saturday, September the 4th at the UN. We're going to the African burial grounds. And so this is going to be at 12 noon. Okay. And we're inviting everyone out. We hope that folks will join in, tell a friend. This is the initial kickoff. So if you want to get the ball rolling, you want to get things started, this is the initiation of the boots on the ground portion of the campaign. And so we want to make sure we're out there and touching base and with the people, seeing the faces and feeling the energy and bringing folks together so that we can have a consensus about what it is that we're doing and what we must do in order to obtain absolute and unequivocal freedom.
That's what's up. So for those of you who are viewing, those of you who will be in New York City this Saturday, 12 p.m. 12 p.m.
Yes.
At the African burial ground. That's where the meetup will take place. And that's significant because I remember when our ancestors' remains were discovered, if you will, at that area. And the shutdown that took place, led by a former congressman, Gus Savage. You had Ollie McLean. You had United African Movement. It was so many people involved in shutting that development that was going to take place. And still, I mean, I don't know, those of you who watch and ever been to the African burial ground here in New York City, Lower Manhattan, but that small area does not constitute where all of the remains were found. It's throughout that area. So that's very significant that the meetup is there, and then everybody goes over to the UN. So one more question. Well, I got two more questions. You know me. Yes. But where did this idea come from? This We Charge Genocide movement. Who came up with this idea?
Well, this was the brainchild of Mama Empress Philae Chinesu, the founder and architect of the Million Women March organization and universal movements, and which took place in 1997, following the October 25th, 1997, following the Million Man March, um, as a response to say that, the women are here too, and we're going to stand strong, and we're going to be in support and in solidarity. And that resulted in over 2 million people being brought to the city of Philadelphia, which was unprecedented, and was the largest gathering of women of any ethnicity, race, color, or creed in the world in the 20th century. So with that, she was able to, do research and, through study, be able to pick up the baton, as you will, if you will, from the ancestors, following up, as I said earlier, with the works of, Queen Mother Moore, Collie House, Paul Robeson, William Patterson, Malcolm X, and being able to see the great works that was conducted, and seeing the need to continue that work in the current vein of what the agenda for the MWMUM is currently, which ultimately is the unification of the Black family and the raising of the Black nation back to the proper place and position.
That's what's up. And I remember that very well. It was an event that pretty much changed my life for sure. And then, just to be within feet of the great Winnie Mandela was a powerful moment for me indeed. I have a cousin who transitioned last year, who was the driving force of me going down there in the first place. So, salute to her. But
That's
one
right.
more question I have for you too. Well, two more. um,
I'm here for it.
are there any local politicians coming out of Philadelphia or anywhere else who have signed on to this We Charge Genocide movement?
Currently, not that I know of directly. There are some, folks in the, elected officials in, city of Philadelphia. There are a few who have said that they would support, and putting efforts into the support. But I have not seen any of these individuals sign directly on to the letter of intent. So don't quote me on that. I'll double check. I haven't gotten the recent polls in, but last time I checked, that was not the case. But we did get a few members, elected officials, to say that they were going to give support. But in parts, as to be expected, we understand that the majority of these individuals, we call them selected officials, and they're put into place, in order to subdue the public and be puppet masters. So, with that being said, we don't expect a tremendous amount of support from so-called elected officials, selected officials, but in turn, it definitely shows their hand. It shows where they're at, and it shows, what they have intended of and for the people. So those who are not signing on, those who are not showing support, we should be taking a very good and close look at that and make a note of it, because if we continue to put these people into power, into position, we only have ourselves to blame.
That's what's up, bro. I say the same thing. People getting all uptight about what's happening now, in particular with these jab mandates. And people are, afraid, confused, whatever. But I always say, you put them in office. I'm looked at as crazy when I tell our people to abstain from the vote.
Right.
Because we're not getting what we want. As you said, that's why we're going to the United Nations on this Saturday. That's why we headed to the UN, because we're not getting what we want. You understand? Right. So I'm looking forward to it. I will be there this Saturday at 12 o'clock. I'll see you all at the African Burial Ground. And I hope to meet a lot of you who are viewing right now, this Saturday, and we're going to kick this thing off for sure. So again, brother Lumumba, always a pleasure to see you. We charge genocide 100.
Oh, and I want to add as well. You know, definitely people can support. If you dial in on Cash App at $HOT1111, you can support the movie. This is a totally autonomous, independent organization. So we do everything from the month. We don't have any grants, any corporate sponsoring. Everything that we do comes out of our own pocket and is supported by the people. So if the people don't support it, we can't continue to move forward. So we're doing everything from the strength and from the muscle, and we really need the support from our people, and those who are in similar spaces, organizations, so on and so forth. We're forming now a Black United Front, for lack of a better terminology, reuniting in that fashion. We're calling it, aspects of practical unity. And so this is what we have to show moving forward. We all we got. If we don't have each other's back, I mean, who will? Also, at PayPal at nbhrproject@gmail.com. That's nbhrproject@gmail.com.
All right, family. Y'all see the Cash App up there. And if you want more information,
I'm sorry. It's 11:11.
Thorough Black Talk on Facebook or YouTube, or send us an email, and we'll definitely make sure that you get all the details that you need for Saturday. I want to thank you again, brother, for coming in. We have our brother Ashe SJ in the building, and I see our sister Ezili Danto getting herself together in the background. And we'll definitely chop it up. I'll see you Saturday, brother. Thanks for coming in and giving us that info.
All right, one more correction. I see on the screen it says $HOT 111. It's actually 1,111. So it's 1111. 1111.
Okay, do me a favor, put that in the private chat for me before you cut out, and then I'll make sure it goes across the screen. All right.
All right. Give thanks.
All right, my brother. Be well.
Yes, you as well.
All right.
You, brother Ashe.
Peace.
Yeah. I was giving him, thanks and kudos, brother Ashe. They came out Saturday all the way from Philly to check us out at Nicholas, Brooklyn, this past Saturday. But how are you? I'm glad to see you in the building. I see you traveling, trying to make it through this crazy maze in the city past the storm that happened last night. We got our guest in queue, so I'm glad you came in just in time.
Yeah, family. Shout out to y'all. Definitely appreciate everybody that came out last week to the Solid African Black August event. It was a very powerful event. Overwhelming love and response from the people that we got that came through. It was a packed house. I was really excited for that because my big brother Tab, my sister Keisha, and myself, we dropped a lot of really good information. A lot of people was receptive to it. And people were asking Keisha, when's the next one? I'm like, oh man, y'all putting the pressure on me now. But we are going to continue to do things for free. We don't want to charge the people. We want to just make sure the real people that really want to be activists, not just keyboard warriors, not just people that talk about things on YouTube and current events and such. We want to really attract and inspire people to do things that they could do, not rocket science, things that are in your community, things that's where it starts, and then we expound to the worldview, like Keisha said, the diaspora. So I'm really excited for our guests that we have coming on tonight. Keisha, I've been asking you, when can we get Ezili? When can we get Ezili? I've been
and he's been on my back. He's been like the NYPD on my back. Because I know the sister does so many programs because, like I said, I get her notification from the Free Haiti movement. I'm on her WhatsApp with the crew, and I get daily briefings on what's happening. So I know how busy she is. But I made it happen, Ashe, because I don't want you to harass me no more. I'm tired of the NYPD on my back. You know what I'm saying? So we got her in here, and then brother Salih too. Brother Salih was on my back. I had to make it happen. So I reached out. She was available, and I am thankful. So we're gonna bring the sister in right now. I see she got her Free Haiti Liberty. Is that the Liberté t-shirt in the back? Yeah, I'm getting that. I'm getting that t-shirt as soon as we log off. I saw it in white on the website. I'm getting that sucker. How you doing, sis? Glad to have you with us.
Honor and respect. Thank you for all those who were asking for me, Brother Ashe and everyone else. Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Thank you. I don't want to hold you too long because I know how busy you are, and I am thankful. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of the WhatsApp crew so I can get these daily briefings and to see and know what's really going on. But instead of getting the Thorough Black Talk Worldview perspective and briefing, I thought best that we come to you and get it direct, especially in the wake of what's happened after the murder of Jovenel Moïse and this interim government that is in place, and the investigation of the murder halted because of murdering of the clerk. So I just want you to come in, sis, and let our people know, because we got a lot of young, believe it or not, viewers who really don't know the gist of what's happening in Haiti right now.
Well, thank you for having me. That's a big question. So in terms of the assassination that happened on July 7th, for those who don't know, I run the Free Haiti movement. I've been doing this for more than 3 decades. So the white body supremacists giving us crisis is a way to stop the fighting, to stop us from doing what we do every day. And so we know that they're going to give us pushback. But I want to tell your audience that this assassination that just happened was what do you call it? Killers killing killers. So it was an inside job.
Uh-huh.
So I know that you all, I don't know where you want me to enter into it. Do you want me to talk to you about who we think actually did this and why this investigation is a joke? Or do you want me to go to the earthquake? Where would you like me to start?
It's all you, Queen. This is your show. You got it. We wanted you on.
Okay. All right.
You see what I'm talking about? You see? They just want to hear from you. Go ahead, sis.
All right. So people, I just heard when I was coming in, someone talked about the UN. And there is nowhere that I go that I don't say that our job at Free Haiti, our job is to take down the UN. We don't go to them for anything. When the UN goes the way of the League of Nations, I want somebody, if I'm not here, to say my name, because that's all we are standing for. So the UN, okay, so let's start from the geopolitical aspects, right? Because everything is about the white body, 1% that rules 7.5 to 8 billion people on the planet, right? Ayiti is a trigger point for them, right? Because Ayiti beat 3 European powers, the ones that are in power right now, okay? So they might have morphed into the United States, but essentially we beat the French, the Spanish, and the English, right? Now, at the UN, you have about 194 nations on the planet that are member states of what they call the United Nations, all right? But listen to this, people. 5 Eurasian powers can veto 194 nations. This is what they're telling you is democracy, or this is what they're telling you is how the world is supposed to be run. So right now, the world is run by the Eurasian powers that have veto power over 194 nations. So do those 194 nations exist? Or are they just neocolonialism is what it's called. It's when you put a black face to white-bodied supremacy. And then you have all of these poverty pimping, funding, whoring academics tell you that this is the best system in the world. Well, most of them are being funded That's why they tell you that. So this is what we teach. There are the 5 Eurasian powers, or the World War II powers that won, right? So they are to the east, you have Russia, China, and to the west, you have the United States, England, and France. All right, those are the 5 powers that rule the world. First, start from there. But then they play this game that they're fighting each other. And they've been playing that game since the time of the Crusades. Okay? And they use the Abrahamic religions to social condition the sheeple, which are the masses. Now, what's going on in Ayiti? Ayiti is that country where your ancestors said no to all of this, what Dessalines called the phantom of liberty. They give you these phantoms and they tell you that's freedom. Like in the United States, they've got the duopoly, right? Which at the highest level, they work together, just like the Eurasians work together at the highest levels, right? And we're not in there, except as house Negroes or collaborators. So in Ayiti, we have had 200 years of containment in poverty, 200 years of dependency, and 200 years of them really trying to essentially do to us what they want to do for the rest of the world. So they're coming for you, but we fight back. So they are doing what they call depopulation, because you all, I know you've heard the song, Fear of a Black Planet. And that's what it is. Fear of a Black Planet. For whoever or whatever they came from, those Eurasians, okay? And they've been here before. They were in the Americas before Columbus got here. You all know that the Mongolians, the Chinese got here and destroyed the original Blacks that were here. So in Ayiti, it was the first place that Columbus the pedophile in 1492, with the help of the Vatican, right? That's Rome, right? Rome. Now you think Rome is no longer here. They just morphed into the Vatican. Okay?
That's right.
You think that somehow they have democracy in England or France or America, but then they give you these phantoms of liberty where you have the right and the left. We call them the duopoly, the Republicans or the demon rats. And they tell you, you got to vote for one, and then you will be getting freedom or liberty or a voice in their white body supremacist system. All right. So in terms of, so Ayiti was the first to be in combat during the time of enslavement. We got our independence in 1804. Those who want to know the history, I have tons of it on my website, so I'm not going to recite it. I'm going to go to what happened on July 7th, 2021. The first democratically elected Haitian president happened back in the 1990. And this was when the Berlin Wall fell, when the Eurasians were fighting each other, you know, but they always fight on our lands. Because if you all have read The Art of War, you know they have to use your blood, your resources. And they conserve their blood and their resources. Okay? Now, one of the things I want those who say they are activists to understand is that we can't use 19th century intellectual work for this technological age.
Right.
So what's happening is people who are still in the 19th century and they still want to go to the UN like Lumumba did, and they killed Lumumba. The United Nations killed Lumumba.
Right.
And yet you want to go there to just, you know, Malcolm was wrong. Right? So, what is the answer? We don't ask a question without giving the answer at the Free Haiti movement, because we are the descendants of the people that invented human rights. Because at the time of the Haitian Revolution, there was slavery everywhere for the Black woman and Black male's children. And we beat these European powers. And in that process, we left a template. Our ancestors left us a template. I always say what it is. So those who really are interested in what works, not what is on the books or what the Abrahamic religion makes you want to feel good about. Because if you're looking to do a revolution with the masses, you will be here forever. And you will go the way of the people of the 60s.
Wow. I know that's right. I know that's right. So I have two questions. I have a bunch of questions, but I'm going to start out with two. So the first one, I mean, from my research, I know what you mean by killers teaching killers, but when we talk to people and when we see things on social media with the so-called quote-unquote conscious people, there's two kind of narratives when it comes to the assassination of this president. One is the narrative that we get from the media, and I guess it's three. There's three narratives. There's the media, then there's the research that we do where we can see all of the corruption and things of that nature. And then there's these, I don't want to use this term conspiracy theorists because we know that term was created for us, but these people that have these theories that the president was doing so much good because they wanted to vaccinate Ayiti, and he said, no, we're not doing vaccinations, things of that nature, and that's why they killed him. So you have some of these people that say they're conscious, but don't actually research, saying that that's the reason why he was murdered, because he didn't allow vaccinations in Haiti and things like that. So can you just break it all the way down? What exactly, I mean, in brief, what happened, and should people be looking to this president as somebody that's for all people or somebody that's against?
Okay. He was an assassin. He was not duly elected. He was put in by two white women who actually run Ayiti today. And they are part of what they call the core group. They are the World War II powers, except for the East, Russia and China. There are 9 nations that have come in as a fist against this little tiny country. The United States, and the U.S. ambassador to the United States herself, her name is Michelle Sisson, and we curse her name and all her bloodline and descendant and wish them all the suffering they have sent to us. The other one is the UN mission director. Her name is Ellen Lalume, and we curse her name and all her descendants and all her family and all her supporters till the end of time. And then you have Germany, Spain, the United States, France, Germany, Spain. Then you have these countries like Brazil. And then you have these international organizations like the UN, the European Union, and the OAS. Those are the representatives that have gotten together. They call themselves the Friends of Haiti. And they're the ones that put in Jovenel Moïse in power. And they used the earthquake to do that. They put in his patron, which is Michel Sweet Mickey, the most misogynist, grossest person on the planet. And they put him in power after the earthquake when everybody was crushed under Bill and Hillary Clinton. Now, if you all want to know the tiny details of everything, go to this number that sister is putting down here, ezilidanto.com. I talk about the assassination, and then I also talk about the earthquake and Bill and Hillary Clinton. So do not listen to any of this stuff about he died because of the vaccine. This is why he died. He was a thief, and he had stolen the drug money of other thieves within his political party who, okay, first you have to understand the United States puts people in power who are criminals. Why? Because they have something on them and they can control them. Before Jovenel Moïse became president, he wasn't qualified morally because he was indicted as a drug money laundering person.
Yep.
While he was indicted, these two white women that go around talking about they are the representative of democracy and civility, they put him in office over the head and votes of the Haitian public. That's why, since they have put him in office and since they put Michel Martelly in office in 2011, the people have been out on the streets, and you see millions of them on the streets saying, no, these drug dealers do not represent us. Well, and we at the Free Haiti movement, we said that there can be no legitimacy to someone who's a criminal being a lawgiver. And he was in the process of trying to change the law to keep himself in office, to give himself immunity. I mean, there's so many details to how heinous this Jovenel Moïse was. But and you have to understand that his term had ended on February 7th, 2021. So his term had ended. But those two white women, remember, white women have always been enslavers. 40% of the slavers in the South were white women. And most of them didn't care that their husband were raping my grandmamas, because then it would increase their estate when he died.
Wow.
Do you understand? And so these women put in this drug dealer because he bends over for them. And I mean that literally as well as metaphorically. Because the white supremacists, they use the first chakra on everything, right? First chakra disconnected from source, disconnected from your umbilical cord. So they use money, title, approval, and the adrenaline rush of unmitigated sex. That's what they use. And then they use everything else like Neely Fuller says. So the Haitian Revolution had a template, and it was in the Kinkongo language of Queen Nzenga. I say pretty much all the time, hoping that somebody who's an activist will take the template. Mabamba Kanga Mundele Kanga Bafioti Kanga Najoki Kanga Yo. Mundele is the stranger that came onto this planet. So Kanga is stop. This is the call that began the Haitian Revolution, in addition to Bookman's prayer.
Is this the Bakaïman?
Excuse me?
Is this the Bakaïman call?
Bakaïman call.
I'm watching your program.
Yes, thank you. Okay. So essentially we have to, this is how you stop white supremacy. You have to stop you have to stop Mandela, the white body supremacist who puts profit over human beings and the environment and everything on the planet. Profit. So if you have no market power in this planet, you're pretty much valueless to them. And then Black collaborators. He always uses Black collaborators to confuse you. And within the Black collaborators, he has the mulattoes. At least in Ayiti, that was the template. And then his evil forces. And for those who don't know those, study Neely Fuller and others who tells you that every level of human activity of the European and the Eurasian is used for domination. And Neely Fuller has 9 of them. We have more, right? Back in the days of the revolution, when our ancestors said, Kanga Bafioti, Kanga Najoki, Najoki meant all their evil forces. And their evil forces is their education, their religion, their media, their economic system, their legal system, their entertainment. It goes on, right? One of my favorite historian, Dr. Henry Clark, says there is nothing that the European does that's not about domination. So that's just a template. Once you understand that and you start from that point, then you're not going to go to the UN, because that's how they use the United Nations, right? So for those who only deal with like the Hegelian dialectic, right? Like if this is this, then this is like, it's like either or. It's not either or. There are various reasons how he died, right? And I'm going to tell you the most important ones. All right. Why was I raised in America? Because the United States had brought dictatorship to Ayiti and kept a man named Duvalier. And my parents were running from that dictatorship. Okay. And then I ended up being educated here. I speak Creole with an English accent because my parents brought me to the belly of the beast. At that time, the United States explained, and all its whoring academics said, that the reason that the United States is maintaining this murderer dictator in Ayiti was because he was a bulwark against communism. Okay, this was during the Cold War, 1957 to 1986. Those were the Duvalier dynasty, father and son. Okay, 1986, the Berlin Wall fall. So they can no longer use communism, right? But in that time, remember, they use your blood and your resources, right? So though they say to you that Ayiti is the poorest in the country, we send more money to the United States than they ever even conceive of having. Just like Africa. Yep. Right? Mm-hmm. Now we can get to that just if you have a question. But yes, this is why Jovenel Moïse was assassinated. About a month before he was assassinated, the one thing that his handlers never imagined he would do, he did. He accepted the credential of the Russians in Ayiti.
Wow. Crazy.
I have that, all of that on my website. And he, about a year before, he had started trying to find, because he had used the money from, okay, so you guys got to understand geography, okay, when you're talking about these nations, right? I always say this constantly, right? Ayiti, which is the real name, okay? I'm saying hate because people don't understand. But Ayiti is the real name, and is the sound of creation. But they changed it because these are Masonic, Jesuit. They learn all of this stuff because this is why I curse Michel Sisson, Ellen Lalume, and the core group, because I know that my words do not return void. They know that when they put a name on you and give you the name of a slaveholder, you are still locked down. So when they say hate T, it's a psychological conditioning. Right. We are the most hated people in the Caribbean.
Right.
The Middle Passage continues for Haitian. There's an Haitian right now dying on the high seas. And so it goes. So he did everything I'm saying to you is a template. He mimics the same template. This is why I can't understand why those who say that they are human rights activists or revolutionaries keep repeating the same mistakes, because the white man never changed his template ever. Right? So just like he will elevate the drug dealer culture in America while he's using it at the same time to depopulate and bring black males into the prison industrial complex. We don't manufacture guns. So why do we have all these killings?
That's right.
We don't manufacture drugs. We don't own a country that has drugs. So who lets them into our community?
That's right.
When y'all start thinking there and staying there instead of going to the other end, then you might begin someplace. But that's where we start in Ayiti. And the people who bring the drugs in are the Middle Eastern Eurasians, that they use immigration to destroy the local power. The same template happens in the United States. They use the immigrants against local blacks. ADOS is right about that. And it's time for us to understand this very quickly, because it already happened in North Africa. So why don't we see it? All right.
That's right.
So the Middle Eastern oligarchs are Bijou and Merv. Bijou and Merv. Bijou is the goodwill ambassador for Israel in Haiti. So just think Mossad. They're the ones that bring in the guns. The guns are Galil, and all their names are the names of guns manufactured in Israel. Find out where the guns are manufactured in your community, and you will know who to go after, what corporate entity to go after, what police station to go after, because they just drop it there so that they can feed the system, feed you to the system. So in Haiti, the Bijou Merv, there's about, some people say 13 families. They own 98% of Haiti's local wealth. They are the billionaires of the Caribbean. The colonial narratives will never talk about them. They will talk about that little Negro who's looking for a little chip and who will sell his mother. That's who they will put a black face on corruption. They will never put these white faces in corruption. Do you understand? So it's up to us. So these people, okay, so it's important. The reason I brought this up is because Bijou, the most powerful man in the Caribbean who lives in Haiti, who's a multi-billionaire because he takes out our resources, he exports about $2-3 billion from Haiti per year. And he controls all the economic doors. How do you control the economic doors of a country? See, we're not even there yet. We're still asking them for reparations in America.
Right.
Oh my God. Okay. So
what is what do they top export in Haiti? Because I heard you talk about the herbs and such, and I wanted you to break down that as well. But yeah, could you let us know what exactly is the major thing that comes out of Haiti?
Well, Bijou is taking out steel. Just look it up. La Surie d'Haïti. The steel works of Haiti. That's Bijou. Gilbert Bijou, the Bijou Group. Of course, right. You will never read that in the Miami Herald. Yes. But he is from a place called Aleppo. Okay. That's Bijou. There you go. Okay. But they won't show you that white face corruption in Haiti. They will show you the black face corruption and the little guys on the street throwing rocks, not the one that brings in the galils and the drugs on their ship. So how do they control the economics? They privatize the Haiti ships. They control the ships, the ones that come to your community in Baltimore, New York, Michigan. The ones that custom never stops. Okay? And where does that come from? Well, let me tell you, since you might not know. All right, so geography, people, okay? So look at a map. Haiti is between Cuba and Venezuela. We're right here in this middle. All right? Venezuela is at the top of South America, right? It's at the upper north, right? Why do the United States want to destroy Maduro, the president of Venezuela? Because they are greedy predators who take your resources and waste your blood, right? So Venezuela has the largest oil reserve in the world. Okay? The head of its oil is in Haiti's waters, which is why they just did this earthquake on our fault line, because they're digging for that oil. All right. Cuba and Venezuela have a little sovereignty. Why? Because they have a big dog when the Eurasian powers giving them military aid, which are
Russians?
Exactly. So Haiti is a military base to stop the Russians. Do you understand? Between Cuba, Venezuela. Haiti is right there in the middle. Okay? They play their games. They use their media to give you stories that have no sense to it. Okay? So, their puppet, before he died, accepted for the first time in our history a Russian to have an embassy here in Haiti. Well, that would trigger his death. Okay? Now, more ironic is that the ambassador who he accepted credentials for, it was the same ambassador in Venezuela. They do not want us to close that gap. So how did they do it? Okay. Education is a nojoke, is an evil force of empire. So they educate our technocrats. So they educated these people. And this guy right now, who is put in by the UN and the core group as acting whatever prime minister, right, was educated in their system. He's only there. His name is Ariel Henry. He's only there to maintain that system and do fake elections so they can give you another puppet. But that assassination was a warning to all Haitians, including the intellectuals who have been trying to figure out how to break the impasse. We are between Cuba and Venezuela. Russia has had tons of time to stop, for instance, the UN from being in Haiti. What, right? The UN was in Haiti from 2004, after they took down the first democratically elected president the second time, who I represented, and the reason I went to Haiti the first time in 1994, President Jean-Bertrand Aristide, right? So imagine how apoplectic these constipated women would be if their puppet brings in their biggest rival. So how did they kill him? Well, the Haitian Secret Service is owned by the United States. Those men who were supposed to be protecting Jovenel Moïse, are owned by Empire.
Wow.
So Empire gave them directly or indirectly the signal that if he was dead, it would be okay. And they had their own problems with him. Remember, about 60 to 70% of the Haitian parliament, the US DEA has dossiers on them. Okay? So that means, and especially the ones that have access to the ports or to the shoreline, because remember, European power comes from that water. That's how they come into your country, right? Through these spaces, right? So they only let folks, not folks that are popular with the people, that are going to do things for the people, but those who are going to take care of the corporatocracy's interests, right? So according to Miami Herald, which is the most heinous newspaper out here, I always name Jacqueline Charles, a Black woman who works for Empire.
Wow.
And they give her all kinds of awards for her journalism.
Uh-huh.
All right. So the night of the 7th, right? According to Jacqueline Charles and the media, and we saw it at 1:00 a.m., a group of Colombians. Remember what I said? The Colombians, I don't know if I told you. Okay, so below us is Venezuela, and next to Venezuela is Colombia. Colombia is a U.S. client state. They own that country. Okay? Own it. Okay? And that means that they train their military to go fight other places, just like Rwanda, just like Kagame goes and fight in the Congo for the United States and the Beers people. Well, that's what Colombia is, a clientele state, just like, all right, you got another one right next to us, right? In the island of Ayiti. It's like the South one, because we have the Dominican Republic. So this is the geopolitical problem that we face and that Haitians have to destroy. We've got the Dominican Republic that believes they're Black people, believing that they are Spanish.
Uh-huh.
And they hate Haitians, which they come from. All right. And they've done tons of stuff to us. Okay. So the depopulations of Haiti comes multifaceted. And if we were not who we are, they would have destroyed us already. We wouldn't have had 200 years of fighting. But we are who we are. And we know we already win. And I always say, for my Vaudouists, guinéposé, because what they have planned for us has rebounded back on them. So we are very peaceful.
That's right. That's
rebounded back on you.
Okay.
All right. So I hope let me give you some details about how they did it. So there's a guy named Civil. He was the head of the Secret Service, and he was in charge of the Haitian detachment that was protecting the president. Okay? He happens to be a U.S. citizen. He was trained by U.S. Special Forces and military. So you know who he belongs to. Okay? There's no way he would allow this man to die. I'll give you an example. So essentially, this is the story. On that day, on July 7th, a group of Colombians, remember about Colombia. Okay, so Venezuela, largest reserve. Colombia, largest reserve of oil. Colombia, 70% of the world's cocaine comes from Colombia. Oh, yeah. A U.S. territory. Now that they've lost Afghanistan, they gotta protect this one, because that's how the intelligence agencies make their illegal monies to go do their wars and topple governments and do regime change and all sorts of perverted crap that they send to show you in Marvel. That's like Captain America doing. Okay. You know, or in what was that big one? Black Panther, right?
Black Panther, yeah.
They made the CIA agent the hero, right? So that's what entertainment is about: social conditioning and engineering. All right. So that night, we know that Jovenel Moïse was an indicted money drug launderer. Okay, everybody knows that in Ayiti. So the Colombians, when they got to his house, which there's 3 checkpoints, so somebody had to be on the inside to not be at those checkpoints, right? Up that hill. And remember, I'll give you another example. The Mossad, the Bijos people, Israel, have a contract to basically take out our resources, but they call it a contract to protect Haiti's borders, land, air, and sea. These people have technology. You're going to tell me that in the middle of the night, about 5 or more Nissan patrol cars goes up a mountain to the president's house and they didn't see none of it?
Exactly.
Okay. He was in his bed, in his bedroom. I am told by people who know that his bedroom was a safe room. So he had a phone that was, even if they had cut the lines, that he can get out. Okay. And they told me that the door to his bedroom is so reinforced that nobody could have gotten in there. Okay. And guess who was inside with him? And I'll just let you guys think. Right. So it was him and his wife. Okay. Now they tell you that an assassin comes and he shoots him in the head 11 times. And he shoots the wife, I think they said 3 or 4 times. But somehow it's in her arm. Okay. So who opened the door? So he's on the phone because he hears outside the Colombians say they come with a couple of Haitian American DEA informants, proven informants. And they say, this is a DEA operation. Remember, I told you, most of the Haitian politicians have dossiers on them for drugs. And people, okay, just listen to what I'm saying, okay? You know how they give you all that music where all these drug dealers are glorified? Well, many of them are there in that community to take it down. Because they got dossiers on them.
Wow.
Template doesn't change, people, and you can hear or you can't hear.
Right.
All right. So they that night they said, DEA, put down your gun. And supposedly the story is the guys that were on the outside of the house just dropped their guns. Not one shot was fired. And they let the Colombians and the assassins in. The story goes that they find Martine Moïse, the wife, in the corridor and take her to the United States for treatment, right? The next day. And that Jovenel has been shot. Okay. So the question is, okay, supposedly he called his Secret Service guy, the head of his unit that was supposed to protect him. He says, everybody's gone. I'm by myself in this house. Supposedly, that's what he said. Civil, who is now in jail, supposedly went to meet the second in command, which is Dimitri Harold, another CIA operative, another guy who is responsible for like massacres. Remember, in the last 3 months before his death, about 18,000 market women houses were burnt down because they were trying to clear them out of that area. So when they start telling you this guy is some hero, just remember the facts. Okay. Right. So that's it. That's basically, so they found, okay. So the story is there was $45 million in his house. This president had stolen it from other drug dealers and put it in his house. They came and got it.
Wow.
So when he called this guy, he was going to get his cut. So instead of going to him right away, right? It's like, I was talking to someone, he said to me, it's like, let's say you're in New York and the guy calls you, and let's say you're in like 50th Street and he's at 72, right? Instead of going up, he passes his house and goes to Connecticut.
Wow.
That's the guy that was supposed to protect him. He is now in prison. He's a U.S. citizen. In my view, because we have dealt with U.S. mercenaries before. Mm-hmm. The Colombians are nothing else but U.S. mercenaries. They couldn't have done it without the.
That's right.
Okay. Because like this was like a multi-nation thing. Colombia, and then there was a Venezuelan Republican guy who owned a mercenary unit in South Florida. And he's the one that hired all the Colombians. You're going to tell me the U.S. with all its spying mechanism didn't hear any of this stuff?
Uh-huh.
So that's the story. They came to get their money, and they got their money. So within that group of people that came to get their money, it seems to me, based on what I've been able to garner, that some of them did not know he was going to be killed, and some of them were charged with killing him.
Wow.
And that's the story.
That's crazy, man. Well, I love you so much because, first of all, you gave us so many details just now. It's like, oh man, you make me want to ask more questions now, but you already answered all of the questions that I have. So let's switch the topic up a little bit because you talked about geography, right? Sometimes when I hear this stuff, first of all, family, please share this video. We get so much information. I hope y'all got your pencils, your pens out, writing this stuff down. You can watch the replay, and as well, go to ezilidanto.com. If you want to get more information on what she's doing with the hashtag Free Haiti movement, please support. But you were talking about geology, so I hear a lot of foolishness online. And like I said, most of the time it's from these fake quote unquote conscious people, right? So my next question is, since we're talking about geology, I heard somebody say this foolishness about, obviously we on the end of Bois Caiman just passed about a week ago. August 21st, I believe it was. And that began the Haitian Revolution. And I saw somebody said something about, they always try to demonize Haiti and they say, well, when they had that ceremony, they made a pact with some spirits. And sometimes when you making a pact with some of those spirits, there's something that you have to pay for down the line. Like you owe them, and they trying to say like they made a pact with the devil or something like that, and we know all of that is foolishness because they trying to say that the earthquake is a response from Bois Caiman. And we know that to be absolute foolishness. We know, like you just said, about the fault lines, geography, when it comes to geography, where Haiti is positioned, right between the tectonic plates is the reason why Haiti always gets, earthquakes and things of that nature. And then people say, oh, well, if that's the case, why doesn't DR have earthquakes? Well, first of all, they do, but DR also has hurricanes. They have tsunami. They have other things that you have to worry about, So when it comes to this stupid narrative that people push and they always try to demonize Haiti and things of that nature, can you break that down and also just talk about the importance of spirituality, you know, African spirituality, when we talk about Haiti and voodoo and all of this stuff?
The greatest hero who ever lived, his name is Jean-Jacques Dessalines, and he was Haiti's founding father.
Ashe.
And with him were, can't say his name without saying the women. All right. So he was trained to be a warrior by a woman named Toya. He called her Aunt Toya.
Uh-huh.
And so that was so there were many women in the Haitian Revolution, but you won't hear their names, just like you won't hear me. Only certain people know who and what I am, because, you know, patriarchy has to cut out the Divine Mother. So talking about spirituality, the balance is gone when you make women body parts to be passed around. When you make women, you know, I think I watched Michelet's movie. She was talking about Dr. Dre. Hoes to be passed around, and babies' mamas to deny everything to. So I remember a time, at least in Black American culture, when the mother was elevated. But in the last 30 years, the mother is, you know, the crack addict. The mother is the reason why these men have baby mamas. Nothing to do with them and their inability to control their first chakra. And I say all the time that this is the same thing that happened in North Africa. And yet Black males are talking about how they want the Black family. But in Ayiti during the revolution, you will see many couples fighting together. The family went to war. So that's the first thing. So in terms of spirituality, we have to figure out when and how we're going to give the female back her space. And I ain't talking about, I don't know, Susan Rice. I'm not talking about the Black collaborators. I'm not talking about Cheryl Mills or Donna Shalala or any of these women that's still in their first chakra that will sell everything to feel good, that don't put family and partnership and the collective first. So I think I said all I can say about spirituality. All right. Black is a culture. Dessalines said he even actually gave some white folks some Black credentials. There were a few hundred Polish who, when Napoleon brought them to Ayiti, he had destroyed their country. And then they were supposed to fight the African warriors who were fighting for their freedom, and they joined the revolution. So the 1805 Haitian Constitution, which I think everyone should study, it wasn't a copy and paste. There are 54 nations in Africa, mostly created by the Chichayuri, the colonist. The lines are created by him. It's not like a family line of how we fall. He does it for his own conquer and destruction. So you have these Black faces that represent white body systems. And Ayiti, I mean, I say it all the time, you know, they use all of our mythology. They'll call it, I don't know, unobtainium, I think, in Avatar. Aberrath, some other name in Black Panther. But in Ayiti, we call it iridium. We have mountains and mountains of it. It's the remains of an asteroid that landed in Ayiti something like 66 million years ago. And I tell people all the time, below our waters, there are pyramids. Pyramids greater than the ones that these Negroes are still trying to re-say what Auntie Diop has said 50 years ago. Like, we know we're original to the planet Earth. Okay, finished. Now what?
That's right.
Now what? How do we are scientific people. How do we use science and systems to destroy the system that this Chichiyui has created? So, yes, of course, he's going to say, you know, like, this is what I teach all the time. There's nothing that the Mundele, which means the stranger, which has come to be the white man and woman, body supremacist. Nothing he really or she really says that has much reality in it. So if they say they live in the North, you know they're living in the South.
That's right. That's what I say all the time. If they tell you it's sunny outside, you better pick an umbrella.
Okay, so if they say we're cursed, it's because, well, that's what they wish. Dessalines said that the whites, like, there was a song that my dad used to sing to me when I was a little kid. It's our lullaby. Blanc, 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 pavle where Dessalines. It really says, like, the whites do not like Dessalines. And Dessalines doesn't like the whites.
Woo!
That's the song. That's what I learned. And believe me, they don't even know what to do with Ezili Danto.
That's right.
Don't know. So, yes, they cursed the name of Jean-Jacques Dessalines because he beat them. They curse his name because we got rid of being breeded like we were animals. Does it make sense to you that a people who freed themselves from the most horrendous terror is cursed? Or are they the most blessed people on the planet who actually invented human rights? Because the United States can mouth and it can write and liberty for all, but means propertied white men because they're too high tech to live love. They just write it.
Right.
So yeah, okay, we're cursed. Thank you very much. And that curse got me free.
Ashe. That's amazing. Okay, so before, because I know Keisha want to get back in here and ask a question, but I got one more thing. Could you just break down, in Creole as well as the translation of that Bois Caiman call? I know you do it on your show, but our audience would love to hear that as well.
It's in the King Congo language. Okay. Those of us who were enslaved in Ayiti came from, well, first of all, they were the indigenous blacks, like the Black Caracals. I urge you all not to stay within the parameters of the Eurasian storyline. Okay? I want you to look at the blue pyramids under Cuba. Because Cuba has a little bit of sovereignty, you can see its pyramids. They will never show you the ones under Ayiti in Lekay, the place where they just had that earthquake. Okay, and they're busy carting out whatever they find and hiding it in some pedophile space. Right? That's what they do. They take all of our stuff. You all saw Black Panther. Saw that spear. And then they say that's theirs. Okay. Well, I can tell you for a fact that the UN has been carting out our iridium for a long, long time. And I can tell you that they are doing underwater excavation on a fault line. And there are 2 fault lines under Ayiti, right? One in the south where we had 2 earthquakes, geoengineered, I might say. Of course, I'm never going to be able to prove it because we don't have the resources to hire the type of geologist that would give us the measurements.
Right.
Okay. But there's a fault line that runs there. The United States has an embassy that's the 4th largest embassy in the world and the largest embassy in the Western Hemisphere. But he want to tell you we don't have nothing. But really, remember I told you, it's fighting who? Russia. In both places, right? Since the Bay of Pigs, they wanted to kill the Castro family, right? And Maduro, you remember, they've sent mercenaries there many, many times. And without the resources in power of Russia, they would have been gone. But Ayiti, they leave. Why do you think that these 5 Eurasian powers have never tried to help Ayiti against the United States? Anybody want to give that a try?
No.
You want me to give you the answer?
Please.
Because there's this big sleeping giant called Africa that will wake up if Ayiti is free. There are 15 conquered island nations. They call them the CARICOM, the Caribbean nations. Conquered. All right? Ayiti keeps fighting. So they give us all kinds of demeaning names to us. But let me tell you, okay? The violence rate in Ayiti, they say we're the most violent. And in your mind, you probably think we're cannibals. Right? But just look it up right now as I talk for those who want to know. I think we are at 13%. Before the Eurasians got there in 2004, our violence rate was 5.6 per 100,000 in 2004. I said within 10 years it would double. It has. Okay? But we're still less violent than most of the nations in the Caribbean that they have all of this tourism that they tell you to go to. Y'all want to know what the violence rate in Jamaica is? Somebody Trinidad. Look it up and put it down.
Trinidad too.
What is the violence rate in Jamaica?
That's right.
Remember, I told you that Ayiti is 13, over 100,000. If we're so bad, we should be that should be the highest in the Caribbean, right? Or at least top 3. But the more these white women stay, they bring their perversions. The more these Jesuits and Mossad stay and bring their perversions, people start believing and profit over people. That's what happened to the political party of Jovenel Moïse and Michel Mateli. They believed in market power. And they believe that if they just do what the European and Eurasians want, they can just live the good life. And if being a crook is what's important, because the Eurasian, especially the Western ones, they have to have something on you. Otherwise, they don't feel comfortable. So, yes, I think I answered that question, right? Did I answer the question?
You didn't give the translation of the call, but I love that.
Okay. Okay, so it's in the Kinkongo language, right, of Queen Nzinga. They came to the Dahomians and the King Congo women were fighters and men were fighters.
Uh-huh.
So when they got to Ayiti and the Boakaima Vodun ceremony that began the Haitian Revolution on 1714 started on August 14th, 1791. And since the warriors came from different spaces and a lot of them didn't understand each other, they put 7 rocks. They gave each of them 7 rocks after the ceremony and sent them back to their plantations and said that when there's no more rocks in you're gonna throw away one every morning. When there's no more in your hand, kupitet bulekai, chop their heads off and burn it.
Wow. Ashe.
Okay, that's a very big lesson because we want to reform the system. We don't want to burn it.
That's right.
All right.
That's true.
A Mabamba Kunga Mandele. Mandele in the Kinkongo language means stranger. You could, when I first started, I was a little bit more Abrahamic religion person. So I didn't say kill. I used to say stop, tie, all the words. It means kill Bondele. Kunga. And then Bafioti is Black collaborators. You've got to stop the Black collaborators, people. Okay. I mean, you got them in like as your vice president or as your demon rat person. And I'm always saying, like, between the fox and the, well, I don't have to say it. Like every revolutionary in America has said it of note, right? Between the fox and the wolf, which is better when you're fighting a revolution and you're at war? The one that hides and comes to your church and put her hand around all of the mothers that have had children that their system has killed,
Mm-hmm.
that her husband and her vice president has put in prison.
Yep.
That's the one you're going to prefer. You're going to prefer the fox to the wolf. Give me the wolf any day.
That's right.
Because I know when he's coming. Because he ain't trying to hide. He ain't trying to use sex. He ain't trying to confuse me.
Uh-huh.
He telling me straight up, I don't like you. I don't want you. I don't want you anywhere near me. I'd be like, Ashe, good, go. Because I don't want you anywhere near me. We're good.
Uh-huh.
But the one that tells you that they love you and plays the saxophone and stupid Black people go crazy, that's the fox.
Yep. Obama.
Okay. And the fox is holding up the Black revolution. So Kunga Mandele, stop the stranger. Kunga Mandele, Kunga Bafioti, stop the Black collaborator. Kunga Najoki, their evil forces. Is that what you wanted to know?
Woo! I love it.
That's the template. That's it, people. Just focus there. Now, how do we do that? May I try to give you some of what we understand at the Free Haiti movement?
Yes, please.
All right. So if you study all the revolutionaries from Garvey, like I don't really want to go into the line of the integrationists because, like I said, I prefer the wolf.
Right.
We understand each other. I ain't looking to integrate with injustice. I don't want to sleep with it. I don't want to eat with it. I can say hi.
That's right.
So, systems. We need technological systems to destroy white-bodied supremacy. So We are the people of the sun. They use religion, right? So we have to first understand what is death, right? Because the Abrahamic religions say, I don't know, the Nazarene was raised from the dead. And supposedly everybody wants to be raised from the dead. Really?
Not me.
I never want to come back here. Thank you very much. I'm always asking the ancestors, why did you make this mistake? Put me in here. So, yeah. Since, I don't know, 2,000 years ago, the Chichiyuri, the Mundele, the Neanderthal brain, who doesn't understand that he's killing nature, we are nature, then how do we do what we need to be done? We have to go back to source. That's what the people of the Haitian Revolution did. And what is source? What are you? Body electric, a magnetic being. Do you understand all of that? Or are you going to put all kinds of stuff into your body that's going to destroy your connection to nature and yourself?
That's right.
Okay. So you have to first detox in every way, your mind, your body specifically, so that you can connect. The Haitian revolutionaries were all barefoot, connected to the soil, made them much more powerful than the booted European. They knew their terrain. You have to know your terrain. And they used a lot of that terrain in herbs, and Macandal used a lot of poison. This is the Bookman's prayer, where he says, you know, the white man's God. This is what began the Haitian Revolution. And my favorite part of the Bookman's prayer is, he said, the white man's God wants him to commit crimes. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you see how clear they were. The white man's God wants him to commit crimes. But our God, who is so good, right, he orders us to avenge our wrongs. And so every time one of our people from the Free Haiti movement dies, I always say, remember, that's why I said we have to understand what death is. It's a transformation. This skin, this whole avatar, this whole cloth goes away, but we are eternal. We don't die. You might be stuck in the dua out there somewhere if you don't understand the ritual that's necessary to get out. But they've destroyed the process of doing that. I mean, you know, this goes beyond here. I'm not, here to do that. But essentially, if you understand that Mandela, like I think it was Ali that said that if there's 1,000 rattlesnakes coming at him, right, and in that 1,000 rattlesnakes, there's one that's, conscious person who happens to be white. He says, I'm not going to sit around trying to figure out which one it is. Right? But they want you to do that. And those who lead you guys tell you to do that. I don't say that at all. I have judged white people, period, based on their history. I have reason. You got to prove to me what you are first. And even then, when the Haitian Revolution started, those Polish soldiers that Dessalines let come to his side, he gave them one job, and then he gave a whole bunch of Black people the job of watching them. Because they will always, and they did eventually, go back to their own tribe. I don't care how many black women Robert De Niro marries. I don't. I'm telling you.
That's right.
All right, let me stop. All right, did I answer your question?
Absolutely. So we got a couple more minutes. This has been an absolute honor and a pleasure having you on here. We got so many more questions, so much more to talk about, but we're running out of time. So I just want to give you this last bit of time that we have left to talk about what you have going on, how we can support that and be a part of this Free Haiti movement. Because, Thorough Black Talk from Tad, myself, and my sister Keisha, this is a home for you. So if you ever need anything from us, especially me, if you need anything from me, I'm on deck. Just let me know, and let our audience know what you got going on.
Well, first I want to thank Keisha. I have seen her on my WhatsApp group for a long time. I don't even know how that happened, Keisha. And I'm so glad that you stayed, because a lot of this stuff is in Creole. You poor thing.
I use the translation app. It works. And then, my daughter's grandmother is from Ayiti. So,
okay. I really want to thank you, Keisha, for the support, for the solidarity, for hanging in there. Yeah, that was extraordinary, Keisha. I thank you. I didn't even realize she was on the group. And then I was like, whoa, poor things. This is all in Creole. So it's a group of people from, and I think I have like two women. This is the other thing, okay? Women have got to start stepping up and being like Keisha, honestly, and supporting each other.
That's
right? This lady supported me when I didn't even know how. I was like I must have put her. I know I put her on the WhatsApp group, but I can't remember how I did that. But she stayed, and this is all mostly in Creole. And so I thank you for that. I thank you for your patience. I thank you for this interview. I thank you, brother, for knowing this work and actually knowing the Boakaimo call. So systems, right? I think one of the starting points that's really important is that we have less than 1% controlling 8 billion people. I think that should be the starting point of any analysis of how we're going to change things. Okay. So yeah, I do keep in touch with Baena. I know Professor Bello very well. So I was just reading that. So that's the first thing, right? Less than 1% control the world. Yet when I talk to Pan-Africanists, people in the diaspora, and local folks in America, they all trying to get together, like everybody. They want everyone to be together. It ain't gonna happen. Miss Eileen said you need nine like minds. Do I have 9 there? 9 like minds. 9 like minds. 9 is the number of completion. Right. We've got to be multidisciplinary and very scientific in what we got to do. Yes, we need to go viral, but you have to have a kernel of minds that are like a mastermind going towards the same space that cannot be divided. If you put together that mastermind that cannot be divided, and you're looking towards systems, remember, there are multi-billion-dollar companies, right? Jeff Bezos didn't go around asking, did you want this before you put it together? Like we keep asking them, do you want it? Listen, remember, the masses are mostly living at their first chakra. If they visually like it, if they sexually like it, so your enemy is going there while you're just trying to do the brain. You can't win that way.
That's right.
So systems, right? What are the systems? Okay. So first of all, how does his retarded issues continue to have money? It's because he uses the law to create trust in the states and corporations to multiply his numbers to be more than 8 billion. The power of the 1%. All right. I'm saying 1%, but you guys know it's less. The power of the 1% is multiplied by his artificial legal entity. And yet you're out there in the streets making noise. So you need to really come together with that mind of at least 9 people. And like I said, when I started, I didn't have any of that. And I ended up having to stand alone for a long time. So sometimes you have to stand alone. Castro pretty much stood alone. And look at his revolution, 40 years going.
Right.
You know how many people was on that boat with him? You also have to understand your constituency, because your enemy understands your constituency, right? So they understand their needs, their weaknesses, but you're not making that analysis. So it has to be scientific, right? Because they make the analysis, for instance, that there's a weakness between the black woman and the black male, that they can just come in and put welfare system and then use their patriarchy and leave the black male out, right? Because supposedly it's supposed to be about the children, and then they take all your children and they give it to white women in foster care.
Yep.
And to drug pharmaceutical companies. Where's your mind? Where's your focus? I see some good stuff. Okay, so systems, right? So artificial legal entity. Okay, we got to destroy that stuff. Right? Because it multiplies their numbers. Right? Jeff Bezos is just that him, right? But how many employees does he have? They're just employees. But he controls everything. It's a dictatorship. American corporations are all dictatorships. Right? And then they use non-for-profits to make money for, like, if you look at the pharmaceutical companies, they all got a non-for-profit, but they're charging like so much money for everything. But they tell you it's just like the NGOs in Ayiti, right? They're poverty pimps masturbating on black pain, I say. Right? But we don't have the intellectuals, because the academics are mostly all bought. Because in order for them to get tenure, they have to get funding. They have to publish things that are acceptable by people who also have the same constraints. So we need a whole different intellectual group of people. I'll tell you some of the ones that I do see. So systems are really important. And I urge people to really think about how we're going to fight this artificial legal entity that controls everything. More than that, remember I said that Haitians were the inventors of human rights, okay? But now they've changed the system. At the time we were the inventors of human rights, it was because freedom and liberty for all only meant just for white property men, right? And we became the enslaved who became the owners of themselves, and we got rid of the masters, right? So everyone in our society had the same rights, right? And Dessalines used to give $40 a head for every ship cargo that came into his waters to free Africans, right? And then we went to South America and freed 5 Latin American countries, Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, and so on. So we didn't just do for us, right? Ethiopia wasn't colonized because Haitians sent ships, and not ships, but money and experts to Menelik. So we have to look beyond the geography, because we are original to the damn planet. Everywhere you step your foot is yours.
That's right.
Okay. I like a couple of young men, like my generation were ridiculous, but some of the young ones that I see that are using technology to increase their market power so they can maybe buy some stuff out of the system. I like Dr. Claude Anderson's, some of his visions. I think anyone who's interested should read his books, should be knowledgeable, and then should try to find that 9 think tank that's going the same space, and then have an alternative, because you're going to lose people. Because as soon as and nobody knows who's in the network for a reason. They only see me. All right. Because as soon as they know who it is, they're going to buy them off. They're going to do some divisions. So you have to understand your enemy first. But I am coming to the end of my time as a warrior. I'm exhausted. So I say to everybody, I know I've done my job. I've done my job for the archetype of the Divine Mother. I've carried that name for decades. And I've carried that spirit. And now that spirit is alive. There's something in scientific that's called the mass consciousness. I know some of you might understand quantum physics. These are all things that we have to understand as warriors and revolutionaries. Quantum physics, how to multiply your actions. That's what quantum physics is about. One example, there was an experiment in some Japanese island where there was 100, all of these, it's the green monkey experiment. Okay. I'm saying it for a reason. I want you all to go look for this. All right. Because they do so much social engineering, but you don't understand basic science about who and what we are. So they dropped, let's say, an apple on the beach, and they would pick up the monkeys would pick up the apple and eat it with all the grain on it, the sand, right? At a certain point in time, one monkey went and washed it off. Then 2, then 3, then 4. When they got to 100 monkeys, not just in that area, but everywhere there were monkeys, they would wash the apple. Do you understand that? That's quantum physics. That's how you multiply your actions. So you have to study that, right? You have to study market power, because you're living in a space where market power is all. How do you find market power? I always say to the folks that if we're going to fight at the level of the European and the Eurasian, you have to have money, media, and military. The 3 M's that we call it: money, media, and military, if you're going to fight at that level. But we have to fight in multi-levels. But that's one level: money, media, and military. This is media. How do you make that larger? How do you use quantum physics to make Keisha's heart that reached out to me go viral, as opposed to these visions that we have of infighting Black women who are strong? Ridiculous, right? Or you, my brother, who I've never met, but I could feel that you are looking for that formula, right? So once you have the template, you issue from there. You always recognize the collaborators and do not do the Christian thing and turn the other cheek.
Oh yeah, Keisha could tell you, I don't do that.
Okay. There is a way of redeeming collaborators, but you have to have power first. Okay, so they have to be marginalized. They have to be, the wanting. I mean, they used to vilify me like they still do, vilified me like that crazy Ezili Danto, right? I used to be like an entertainment attorney making all kinds of money, and I supposedly, gave all that money up to represent poor Black people. And in Ayiti, this land where Dessalines freed Black people, being Black is almost a curse. Like they all want to be light-skinned. They all want to be something else, non-African. And the reason that Ayiti is getting destroyed is because it's the most African nation in the Western Hemisphere. That you have to understand. But remember what I said, being Black or being African means that you issue from source. It's more than your skin color. It is your skin color and your DNA, definitely. It's your melanin, definitely. But it's also your character. Okay? So EziliDanto.com. I run the Free Haiti movement. You guys can go to Facebook and all of that. Join. You can find me on Twitter. There is a earthquake. I'm asking people you can give money to Professor Baena Bello. She has people in the South, if you're interested, of helping. I talked to her recently, and she was telling me that she was helping like older women who were lost things during this geoengineered earthquake. So you can reach out to her. You can find her organization. I definitely recommend those organizations. There's another woman. Her name is Ninaj Raoul, and she is Haitian Women for Haitian Refugees.org. Haitian Women for Haitian Refugees. You can just look it up. They also are in the South helping the most immediate people in need. But we have to go beyond crisis, people. Okay. I'm at that point, right? Chicha Yuri tries to keep my attention on crisis after crisis. I don't do that anymore. Don't turn around for every dog that barks. Okay. And that's kind of what they try to do to us, give you crisis after crisis, because remember, they tell you that their money is the most powerful thing in the world. I'm going to tell you, your attention is the most powerful thing in the world. All right, people, that's it. Okay. And I have,
thank you.
I have, Ezili Danto.
What's your cash app?
It's $, Zili, Zili, and then D. $.
Right there. There it is. I'll put it up.
Oh, merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. Honor. Yep, that's what it is. Yep, Zili D. Ayesha, I didn't hear from you at all. I didn't get.
I'm letting the young lion. You gotta let our young brothers and sisters get in here. So
yeah, but
I
let me
know how
hear
to.
you, my sister. Come on. I did not hear you at all.
I'm letting the young lion go ahead. You know, you had me with my spear. You know, I had to bring the spear out.
Where's your spear? Show me. You got it?
Yeah, of course. I did right there. That's
There you
it.
go. There you
That's
go.
it. You know, I had to bring the spear out. But again, sister, I love you so much. And I learned so much. I'm thankful. And yes, I did stay in the group because I also learned Creole. Yes.
Well, I love
Intelligence
you
is
back.
everything.
I love you back. I am so appreciative. I don't know what kind of patience it must take. Oh my goodness. But I guess it was meant to be. You were the right person.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
thank you for being the right person. And let's do something next time.
Yes, indeed.
I want to hear more from you. I want to hear what, I have to check out your channel.
Yes, indeed. Most certainly. We'll make that happen again. Thank you, sister, for coming in and giving our people an education that they so desperately wanted. And, my brother Ashe put the air, and I had to make that call and make it happen. So I'm glad that you came through for us this evening. Again, family, please follow her on all social media platforms. That's Instagram, Facebook. Check out her YouTube channel as well. That is in the chat. And go to EziliDanto.com. As soon as we log off, I'm getting my shirt. I need my shirt ASAP.
I'll make sure you get. I know I have no more smalls, but definitely, you let me see what you get. We'll send you a few extras, okay? Because I really do appreciate you. I appreciate that you stayed in that WhatsApp group because I was like, it was all Haitians, I don't know how I did that. And brother, I can see your energy. I could feel your energy. And I'm going to, sometimes I say to people, you don't tell the universe what you want. So I'm going to give you that one secret, brother, because I think you deserve it. You don't tell the universe what you want, brother Ashe. You tell the universe what you are.
Mm-hmm. Woo. There you have it, family. Ezili Danto. Oh man, you know the people gonna ask to have you back. So just prepare. I'm glad Keisha and you are like this now, because she gonna be pulling some favors.
Don't forget that, my brother, okay? I want you to think about that in all aspects of your life.
Most definitely. Thank you so much. It was an honor and a privilege to have you. Please, family, go to her website. We put the Cash App up here. Please make sure you show her some love. And remember, you can watch this replay on YouTube immediately after we end this broadcast, because she dropped so much information, so much wisdom. Please make sure you share this with a friend and support our sister. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Honor and respect.
Yes, indeed. And also, everybody on Twitch, we don't forget you, because we on live on Twitch, on Facebook, on YouTube. So I'm trying to master this technology.
Nice.
Nice. Yes, thank you again.
Honor and respect. I say honor and respect to all your listeners, before all that is greater than we, before all that has come before all of us. Thank you.
Ashe. Thank you. Woo!
There you have it, family. Did we not bring that fire? Did we not bring that fire? See, you never know. You never know, boy. And I always say intelligence is everything. Intelligence is everything. Just like she said, everybody who's a part of the group don't know each other for a reason. It's the same with RBG Black Goddesses. This information network has to remain as it is, because intelligence, again, is everything. Brother Ashe, your final thoughts?
Yes, family. Listen, when we get off of this, I'm about to hit play and watch the replay myself. Like I wasn't even here. She dropped so much information. I took some notes in my phone. I put some of the websites in, so we will share that. And eventually we are going to actually create a group as well. I don't know what platform, if it's a Facebook group or WhatsApp group, whatever, because we got to have something where we could continue to add, we post stuff on our page and things of that nature. So please make sure y'all check out the Thorough Black Talk page. But we got to make sure we have something else where we can connect with our brothers and sisters and share this information, because she dropped so many jewels and so much information tonight. We really want to make sure y'all receive it and are able to, study it, because things like this, it's extremely important, family. And Haiti, like we said, the most successful rebellion when it comes to our people, we have so much to learn from them. I'm planning on traveling there one day once it's okay for me to travel. And I'm just excited, family. So I thank her so much. We looking forward to having her on the platform again. And please make sure y'all follow her page. Hashtag Free Haiti Movement. Go to ezilidanto.com and you can watch more videos of her. And like I always say, and it's fitting, divine timing, because this is a Haitian proverb that I always close out with. True courage is knowing how to suffer. I don't know how to say it in Creole, so I'm going to say it in Brooklyn Creole. True courage is knowing how to suffer. And remember, family, the battlefield is where you stand. Shout out to everybody that came out last Sunday to the Solid African Black August event. Make sure y'all follow Solid African on all platforms. We are going to be right back at y'all, family, with some Black Power. Do us a favor. Share this video right now. As you get off of this platform, share, hit the share button, share it in a group, DM it to some people. We want to get this information out, family, because it's not just hollow information. It's information with solutions. As you see, Ezra gave you the solutions. You know what I'm saying? So let's make sure we share this video. I want to see everybody in here that's watching right now. Share this link before the night is over. Do us a solid, because we want to continue to bring powerful people up here that are not only talking the talk, but are walking the walk. If y'all support us, do us that solid. Share this video. Support all of the efforts that we have going on, family. This is your brother Ashe SJ. Man, I'm about to watch that replay, Sister Keisha. Peace, y'all.
Facts. Me too. Again, I thank Attorney Ezili Danto for coming in and giving us that information and knowledge. And again, I also appreciate her for briefing me just about daily on what's really going on, what's really the hand in hand behind the scenes. Shout out to Brother Knowledge Born. Definitely that media mastermind coalition is happening. He and I, we chopped it up to get this coalition off the ground, because as the Queen Mother said, you got to take hold of this technology. You can't be behind it. And so a Black media coalition is definitely needed. And who better than me and Knowledge Born to get it on and pop it? But thank you all for joining us again this week on the Brooklyn Bridge. Tune in next week. We got another powerful program for you. Won't be disappointed. I'm telling you, you're not going to want to miss next week. So get up in there, share this program, as my brother Ashe SJ said, and we'll see y'all all again Black next week. We out, y'all. Good night.
Yeah.